A very good day to NORZILAH. We are from Group 9, Inflation Fighters. We'll be discuss about the developments since KEYNES. Before that, my name is Muhammad Shafiq bin Shafi'i. My matrix number is 286751 and my fellow group mates will be presenting. Without further ado, let's discuss about it. So in these subtopics, we will discuss about the Keynesian school, which is the development of Keynes theory after he died. So we will discuss in three separate subtopics, which are the pioneers of Keynes theory, which are Alvin Hansen, John Hicks, and Paul Samuelson, which they helped and developed the Keynes approach to economics directly into macroeconomic theory. Second, we will discuss about the post-Keynesian economies, which is the ideas had been created due to contemporary neoclassical synthesis. And lastly, we will discuss about new Keynesian economies, which is a revolution of rejecting the idea of post-Keynesian theory and focus back on traditional Keynesian question. The first individual I would like to introduce is Alvin Harvey Hansen. He was born on August 23rd, 1887 in South Dakota. He attended high school at Sioux Falls Academy and went to Yankton and graduated in 1910. He also received his PhD from University of Wisconsin and teaching at St. Brown University and Minnesota University. He also published Business Cycle Theory on 1927 and the General Theory on 1936. And in the Business Cycle Theory, he criticized under-consumptionist theories and had particular interest in fluctuations in economic activity. He also pointed out some mathematical error and initial reaction to general theory. He actually blamed that lower economic growth and higher unemployment on savings rate were too high. But he changed his view after deeper study of Keynesian theory, and he is actually studying in Central Focus of Fiscal Policy Seminar. Some of his students are Yves Demar, John Dunlop, Walter Salon, Paul Samuelson, Paul Sweezy, James Tobin, and Henry Wallich. He also published the Fiscal Policy and Business Cycle books on 1941, which these books discuss and supports Keynes' analysis of macroeconomic problem. And do you know that his enthusiasm and continuous policies to stabilize economy, promote government intervention for full employment, had gaining a title from the people that he gained the American Keynes. And some of other books he published are Business Cycle and National Income, A Guide to Keynes and the General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, just like this. A Guide to Keynes had becoming familiar among students to understand more sections of Keynes' general theory, and for better understanding about the general theory, you may scan the QR code so that you will have the better understanding.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Alia. So next, we're going to discuss about Paul A. Samuelson and his contribution. So Samuelson was born in Gary, Indiana on May 15 in the year 1915. So he received a lot of education, and one of it is University of Chicago, where he do his BA program when he was 16 years old. And after that, he graduated in program of economics in Harvard. And from here, he has been involved with the start of Keynesian evolution. So after that, he earned a doctoral dissertation published with the title of The Foundation of Economics Analysis in the year 1947, where from here he used a lot of mathematical theory to prove major theory in economics. Next, we're going to look into Paul A. Samuelson occupation journey. So even though he graduated from Harvard, he has been rejected by Harvard, even though he also has published 11 articles during he was a graduate student. And after that, a few years later, he managed to take a position at MIT when he was only 25 years old, where from here, he has successfully changed MIT from being only STEM-based into also focusing on the economics field of study. Next, we're going to dive into the publication and contribution of Paul A. Samuelson. So Samuelson loves to being called a generalist rather than an empiricalist because he really loves to expand a theory rather than testing the theory. So next, it is very hard to categorize Samuelson into certain types of economics or any other field, but it is easier to just put him into a master in mathematical economics, and he also really loves welfare economics. So due to his contribution, he has been named the founder of modern economics and also has been named the best American economist. So in 1970, Paul A. Samuelson has successfully received a Nobel Prize in Economic Science. Next, one of the biggest theory that Samuelson has created is the multiplier accelerator interaction. So from here, the theory started in 1937, where he has published two papers on interaction between principle of multiplier and accelerator. The ideas are based on few theories in the past, which is number one by Kant, where he developed notion of multiplier, and next Keynes has used multiplier as a central part of his theory, and last one is John Maurice Clark, where he has successfully discussed acceleration in 1970. So what Samuelson does is that he managed to find that number one, changes in income, which is also able to affect consumption, will depend on the size of MPC, which is the marginal propensity of income, and the coefficient accelerator size. Next, the size of MPC will continue to determine the multiplier, and coefficient accelerator size will determine the changes in investment because of the changes that happen in the rate of income growth. And lastly, uh, depending on the value of multiplier and accelerator and whether the change in investment is continuous, we're able to find the initial autonomous will increase, and it will bring to various outcome from temporary increase to permanent increase in income. So now we're going to look into the mathematical aspect of the theory. So the main theory is that the interaction between multiplier and accelerator will lead to fluctuation in economy. So from here, we're able to see that income and investment are interrelated. So the process is that first, there will be increase in autonomous investment, and after that, increase in income through the multiplier itself. And after that, we're able to see in economy, there will happen the increase in induced investment through accelerator. So what is the difference between induced investment and autonomous investment? So autonomous investment is investment that will be done without the changes in income. So whatever the income, the investment will be a certain level, while induced investment is investment that will be affected by income. So whatever changes that happen in income will affect the amount of investment made during that time. So what will happen is that the AD and Y will increase in larger increment. So this is the equation. So first equation is the income equation, the normal GDP that we always use, which is Y will equal to C plus I plus G plus N plus X minus M. And after that, in the consumption equation, is C equal to A plus B Y, where the B is the MPC and Y is the income. So we do all the normal math thing that we have done, minus the tax to get the disposable personal income, and we will get this final equation. And for the third equation is investment equation. And we have a lot of other equations such as government, export, and also import. So next, we need to substitute all of the equation into one income equation and then simplify all the equation based on the marginal propensity of each variable. And then we will get this final equation. So what do we get from this theory? A lot of the key findings, one of it is that national income will increase through the multiplier effect. And from here, we can see that it is possible to explain the turning point in business cycle, because before this, before the economists in the development after Keynes are unable to explain the turning point in business cycle. And of course, the turning point in the business cycle is all of this fluctuation that happen. We can see we have peak and recession, recovery area. So, and also the pre-Keynesian acceleration theory has exaggerated the instability in economy.
Okay, baiklah. So next is the post-Keynesian economic thoughts. Okay, so kita kena terima kasih dekat Hansen, Samuel dan lain-lain ekonomi harus perdana merangkumi prinsip makroekonomi Keynesian yang dicantumkan pada prinsip neoklasik microeconomic. Walau bagaimanapun, not all scholars of Keynes accepted this neoclassical. Okay, maksudnya walau bagaimanapun, tak semua sarjana Keynes diorang terima sintesis neoklasik ni. Ada yang diorang menafikan tafsiran ISLM Keynes dan microeconomic standard. Post-Keynesian economics contain that contemporary neoclassical synthesis. Ahli ekonomi pasca Keynes ni, diorang berpendapat bahawa sintesis neoklasik contemporary, which is like sintesis antara macroeconomic Keynes dengan microeconomic neoklasik ni bukan sahaja cacat, tapi dia tak serasi dengan idea Keynes sendiri. Ketua di kalangan pengkritik pasca Keynes ialah sekumpulan ekonomi dekat Cambridge, England, termasuk Piero Sraffa, Nicholas Caldo, Joanne Robinson, Luigi Pacinetti, John K. Galbraith, and Sidney Weintraub, dan segelintir ahli ekonomi lain yang menyumbang kepada aliran pemikiran ini di Amerika Syarikat. Okay, so ramai daripada pasca Keynes banyak menggunakan kerja ahli ekonomi Pauline Michael Kalecki yang pada tahun 1933 dia tawarkan teori seperti Keynesian tentang jumlah pekerja sebelum teori umum, which is like Michael Kalecki who in 1933 had offered a Keynesian-like theory of total employment prior to the general theory. Okay, so pasca Keynes, post-Keynesians are small yet diverse group of economics. Maksudnya pasca Keynesians adalah sekumpulan ahli ekonomi yang kecil tapi dia pelbagai, diverse. So beberapa idea seperti individu dalam paradigma ni dia berbeza daripada yang dinyatakan oleh orang lain. Tapi kita boleh bezakan dia dengan beberapa prinsip asas set idea ni, which is like the basic tenets. Okay, so these are the basic tenets, which is neo-Ricardian view of production, value and distribution, markup pricing, archaeological excavation, endogenous money, pronounced cyclical instability dengan need for an income policy. Okay, so first basic tenets is neo-Ricardian view of production, value and distribution. Okay, so pada tahun 1960, Piero Sraffa dia menerbitkan pengeluaran komoditi dengan cara komoditi, a prelude to a critique of economic theory. Okay, so maksudnya like dia publish production of commodities by means of commodity, a prelude to a critique of economic theory. Okay, so maksud buku ni dia lebih kepada yang dia bina teori pengeluaran dan nilai Ricardo dalam bentuk moden. So Sraffa menurut dia cakap yang corak permintaan terhadap pelbagai produk dia tak menjejaskan corak harga. Sebaliknya dia hanya mempengaruhi skala keluaran dalam setiap industri. Maksudnya demand does not affect the pattern of prices, affect only the scale of output. Nilai sebenar, which is harga barangan, dia bergantung kepada saham komoditi lain yang diperlukan untuk menghasilkannya. Nilai relatif harga dan keuntungan jika upah diberikan ditentukan oleh teknik pengeluaran yang digunakan untuk menghasilkan komoditi standard composite yang terdiri daripada komoditi asas dalam ekonomi. Komoditi asas ni adalah barang yang dia memasuki pengeluaran semua komoditi lain. Pada dasarnya adalah barangan modal yang muncul sebagai input dan juga output. So, ciri utama komoditi standard composite ialah perubahan dalam sama ada upah atau keuntungan memberi kesan kepada input dengan cara sama dalam cara yang sama seperti ia mempengaruhi output. So, oleh itu, Sraffa dikata komoditi standard composite ialah ukuran nilai atau harga relatif Ricardo yang sukar difahami. Jadi, teori Sraffa ni dia menghasilkan kesimpulan baru iaitu tahap keluaran domestik adalah bebas sepenuhnya daripada cara ia diagihkan antara upah dan juga keuntungan. Sebarang pengagihan upah dan keuntungan adalah konsisten dengan tahap pengeluaran tertentu. So, inilah maksudnya composite standard commodity. So, Joanne Robinson dan juga ahli pasar Keynes lain, dia kembangkan tema Sraffa yang tak konvensional. Pengagihan sebenar pendapatan antara upah dan keuntungan, kata diorang cakap, akan bergantung kepada perjuangan kelas pada dasar awam yang mengubah pengagihan dan pada kadar pelaburan, iaitu kadar yang lebih tinggi meningkatkan bahagian keuntungan. So, Robinson ni dia berujar bahawa Tak apa, yang ni tak apa. Sebab ini pasal Robinson. Okay, next kita nak cakap pasal yang basic tendency kedua adalah markup pricing. Harga ditetapkan oleh syarikat oligopoli, which is set by oligopoly, iaitu syarikat yang tetapkan. So, firma-firma ni dia membiayai pelaburan sebahagian besarnya daripada keuntungan tertahan. Untuk mencapai tahap keuntungan yang diingini oleh itu merealisasikan rancangan pelaburan mereka. Oligopolis ni dia menetapkan harga melebihi kos semasa, retain profit and then let's set prices above current cost. Oleh itu, harga dia tak menggambarkan keadaan permintaan semasa, sebaliknya dia mencerminkan keperluan dana untuk perbelanjaan pelaburan yang dirancang firma supaya firma anggap firma anggap perlu jika ia ingin menyesuaikan kapasitinya secukup untuk memenuhi jangkaan permintaan pada masa hadapan. So, bila kos meningkat, firma pun akan naikkan harga untuk kekalkan markup diorang berbanding kos diorang. Okay, next kita tengok pula basic tendency ketiga iaitu endogenous money. Post-Keynesians regard the stock of money as being essentially endogenous. Bertentangan dengan pandangan yang dipegang oleh Fisher dan Friedman, pasca Keynesian ni, diorang anggap stok wang sebagai asas endogenous kepada ekonomi. Dia berubah sebagai tindak balas kepada perubahan dalam tahap upah. So, keperluan perdagangan menentukan bekalan wang. Keynes dia menegaskan bahawa wang wujud bersama dengan hutang. So, inflasi ni dia akan timbul daripada perebutan saham, pengagihan pendapatan. So, money changes in the level of wages. And money come into existence along with debt. So, sorry. And then, so, inflasi timbul daripada perebutan saham pengagihan pendapatan. Kenaikan gaji menyebabkan kos pengeluaran meningkat, mewujudkan permintaan yang lebih besar di pihak firma untuk modal kerja bagi membiayai barangan dalam proses dan inventory mereka yang lebih mahal. So, pinjaman perniagaan akan meningkat dan stok wang pun akan meningkat. So, last sekali adalah pronounced cyclical instability. So, economy is inherently unstable. Ekonomi kita ni dia tak stabil. So, pelaburan mesti berkembang secukupnya untuk pastikan pendapatan dan keluaran negara berkembang pada kadar yang stabil. Kerana tempoh persekitaran bergantian keyakinan, perniagaan dan pesimisme selanjutnya tak. Maksudnya, investment must grow sufficiently to keep national income and output growing at a steady rate. Investment is less than required. So, bila pelaburan kurang daripada yang diperlukan untuk mengekalkan kadar pertumbuhan yang stabil, ekonomi surut dan pengangguran pun akan meningkat. So, ekonomi recede and unemployment pun rises. Sebab itulah macam dalam ekonomi kita ni ada cyclical. Kadang ada naik, kadang turun. Sebab itulah penting.
Hi, I'm Shafiq with matrix number 286885. So the fifth point of basic tenets is a need for an income policy. So why we need for an income policy? Because it limits the average annual wage increase depends on the national annual rate of productivity growth. So a successful income policy will hold down inflation and minimize the redistributions of income from inflation. And the last one is avoid the loss of output associated with anti-inflationary fiscal and monetary policy. Next, the post-Keynesian thought. So inflation cannot be controlled through physical and monetary policy. Focus on the question of how an income policy can be made to work effectively and equitably. Okay, next. What is heterodox economics? Heterodox economics is mainstream orthodox economics that consists of anarchist economics, socialist economics, evolutionary economics, anarchist economics, ecological economics, George's economics, Austrian economics, post-Keynesian economics. So an umbrella term for economic approaches generally considered outside of mainstream economics.
So now I'm going to explain about the new Keynesians thought. They reject the new Ricardian value theory of the post-Keynesians. They also reject the post-Keynesians call for incoming policies, citing the resource misallocation resulting from these policies and the poor historical success of wage and price controls in reducing inflation. Instead, they have pursued a narrower line of inquiry by refocusing their attention on the traditional Keynesian question of why recession occur. According to the new Keynesian theories, decline in the aggregate demand produced decline in real output and corresponding increase in unemployment because the price level and nominal wage are inflexible downward. Here I'm going to explain about the downward price and wage inflexibility theory between the post-Keynesians and the new Keynesians. Based on the post-Keynesians, suppose that price and nominal wage are perfectly flexible. The initial equilibrium point is at point A, which AD1 intercept with AS1. So, what's going to happen if aggregate demand falls from AD1 to AD2 and aggregate supplies remain at AS1? First, price level will decrease from P1 to P2, point A to point B, and the second one is real output will decrease from its full employment level Q3 to less than full employment output Q1. So, the lower price level and greater unemployment will enable producers to lower nominal wages. Aggregate supplies will shift rightward from AS1 to AS2. The new equilibrium will be at point C, which AD2 intercept with AS2, and real output return to Q3 because of recession automatically ended. Meanwhile, for the new Keynesians, price and nominal wage are inflexible downward. Instead of moving the economy quickly from A to B to C, a decrease in aggregate demand from AD1 to AD2 will move the economy from A to D, and the real output will decrease from Q3 to Q2. Because wages are inflexible downward, unemployment associated with real output, Q2 will persist until return to AD1. Active fiscal and monetary policy should be implemented to shift AD2 back to AD1. The new Keynesian economists such as Joseph Stiglitz of Stanford, Oliver Blanchard of Harvard, Stanley Fisher of MIT, George Akerlof of California Berkeley, Asser Landbeck of the University of Stockholm, and Robert Gordon of Northwestern have offered several possible explanations for downward price and wage rigidity. The first one is menu cost, the second one is formal and implicit contracts, the third one is efficient and wages, last but not least, insiders and outsiders theory. So I'm going to explain about menu cost. What is menu cost? Menu costs are all of the costs incurred by the firms when they want to change their price. For example, when a restaurant raised or lowered its price, they need to pay for extra costs in order to print a new catalog, menu which costs more time and money. These are the example of the menu costs. The first one is hiring consultant to develop, retagging items, paying catalog designers, and many more. The business that is less affected by menu costs is e-commerce businesses because their catalog of products prices are all online. Most of them already have computers, so they just need to change it online. The menu cost that they have to face is only time. Thus, when aggregate demand in the economy declines, price, at least for a time, may remain fixed while output and employment fall.
Next, formal and implicit contracts. So what it means by formal contracts and implicit contracts? Formal contracts means that employees sign the agreements on a piece of paper, while the implicit contracts means the agreement made behind and do not need a piece of paper, which mean invisible shake hands. So New Keynesian points out that unions often sign long-term contracts. So wages reduction that might cost aggregate demand decreased, and instead firms lay off workers. So renegotiate contracts, union receives wage givebacks. So union leaders often prefer layoff for the few rather wage cuts for the many. So it means that the leaders will prefer layoff of the few workers compared to cut the wages that might affect the whole workers. So although many non-union workers do not work under formal contracts, these workers may operate under implicit contracts. So one common understanding may be that firms will maintain existing nominal wages during period of slack product demand. If formal and implicit contracts permit the workplace, wages reduction are not forthcoming as aggregate demand decrease and recession will occur. So which means unemployment increase. Next, efficiency wages. So when wages increase, we will receive higher output, raise morale among employees, reduce cost due to turnover. So this will lead to increase in efficiency wages. So labor productivity increase, which is good for company and country economies itself. However, when employers decrease the wages, it will cost in shrinking, increased numbers of employee quitting, lower productivity, increased per unit labor cost, increased cost of living, which is bad for total cost of the company. And this will lead to downward wage inflexibility and cyclical unemployment. So what is meant by cyclical unemployment? So cyclical unemployment happen in business cycle, which is more specific in recession. So we can see that when wages decreased, the output decreased and the productivity also decreased.
Okay, so next is insider outsider theory. So what is insider? Insider adalah employed worker who possess some market power. And what is outsider? Outsider adalah unemployed who are unable or unwilling to underbid existing wage rate to gain employment. So the reason for the disparity is the firm incur labor turnover cost when they replace insider with outsider. Contohnya, example of labor turnover, contohnya adalah labor turnover cost. The cost of hiring, firing and providing firm specific training. Insider may resist competition with outsider by refusing to cooperate with or harassing outsider who try to underbid the wage of incumbent worker. So the firm's output and profit also will suffer.
So, in conclusion, several important economists like Alvin Harvey Hansen and Paul Samuelson helped move their version of Keynes' approach directly to macroeconomic approach. And also John Hicks also correctly noted that Keynes' liquidity preference is depends on level of national income or gross domestic product GDP as we refer in ISLM model. And also Paul Samuelson identified and explored interaction between principle of multiplier and accelerator, algebra of income distribution, the Phillips curve, comparative analysis, reveal preference theory, and so on. And that's all from us. Thank you.